Big Herc 91. You tuned into another edition of Fresh Out. And today I got a special guest for you guys, Sophie, who actually worked for the Department of Corrections, CDC,
Yes.
California Department of Corrections, in the medical area. And I've told you guys before about pill line and how crazy medical is, man. And she's going to get into it. She's going to tell her story, how she came about working for the CDC, what was it like, the crazy stories dealing with the inmates. And she was in California, so you know it was wild out there in Cali. So Sophie, tell our fans and our viewers your backstory, like how you came about working for the CDC and got into working at Tracy.
Okay. So the crazy thing is I was born and raised in Tracy, California, and I grew up with some of these guys that were in DVI. So we always knew about it as a kid, and growing up. And I was a single mom at the time, my kid's dad passed away. And so I needed a good job, right? With the other couple of jobs that I had. And I'm like, what? It's for the government. Like, what could be wrong with me working with the government? Like, my dad worked for the government. It seemed right? The pay wasn't right. However, no shout out to the government for the shitty pay that they gave me. So I made a measly $13.50 an hour working medical mainline at Dual Vocational Institute in Tracy, California on Casson Road. Cheap bastards. That's why they're closed now. But so I needed the money though. So you're going to do what you got to do basically as a parent, So they interviewed me. I went and I was like, okay. They're like, yeah, we got to do like an extensive background, fingerprint, whatever. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Do whatever you got to do. So we do it. And then I go to orientation. And orientation, to say the least, is fucking bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. Like, they do not tell you what it really is like in there, working in there. So finally we get to day one. Now, it wasn't the job. The job I'm proficient at. I came with very high regards for my supervisors. It was actually working there. So they're walking first you walk. We have a separate way to walk in. We walk in. We're not allowed to take in anything that's not a clear bag. So we had to have a clear bag or a clear purse, clear backpack, whatever. So we go through this whole search beforehand. Okay. They're checking all of our shit, making sure we're not taking anything in there to the inmates. Then we start going through corridors. We go through one corridor. It's like the entryway. You see inmates working out there. The guys that earn the good time. They're working out there doing dirt, but they're working out there. And so we get through that corridor. And I'm telling you, as a female, you can feel the eyes on you. It's all men's facility. DVI actually had a dairy that they ran out of there. So they made their own milk. So any milk that they had at the prison, it was made there. They made license plates. So the inmates even had the store. So they had stores where they created things inside and they were able to sell them for money. So we were able to go look. Like, I almost bought a guitar one time in there. An inmate had made a wooden guitar. Yes. These guys are efficient when they get their hands on materials and they can have enough time to study and make the shit. They are proficient at what they do when they're making their craft. So they had a store in the beginning that they walked us through, and then we went through the check. Then we went through the first corridor. We saw them cleaning, and then there's just a outside hallway before you get to the main entrance. Going to the main entrance, you just see this LED sign that says, remember, you work and live in a prison while you are here. I saw that. I was like, oh, hold on a second. What? We could not chew gum. Gum was, you'll get fired, walked out for chewing gum. We're not allowed. No, couldn't have a book. Don't bring no books. We don't want no books. No lighters, no sharp object on your keys. Like, we were basically strip searched going in there because we were coming out from the streets, right? I learned very quickly not to wear tight clothes in there, tight scrubs, anything that was even remotely form-fitting, because it was a set off for the guys in there. And these bitches, these fucking office workers and these nurses and these supervisor God, what was her name? Damn, I wish I could remember that bitch's name. But she was a supervisor in medical mainline in the laboratory, the supervisor that was cheating on her husband with the inmate, or with the CO. I apologize, not inmate, but with the CO. Yes, this shit happens in there. Yes, women ruin marriages to have intercourse with the CO in the laboratory. Like, it's fucking a soap opera in there. If I had cameras, I could have a soap opera. If like I knew they weren't gonna get fired. If I knew they weren't gonna get fired, but I fuck her, and it's closed anyways now. DVI is closed now, but so. Ooh, I knew better than to leave my phone on because it's the lights. But so we get in there and they give you chits. An inmate knows what chits is, because if you get a chit, that's some good metal to melt down for a shank. Okay,
Chit?
chits.
Where you get that from?
So when we clock in, I go into the laboratory and say I need to go check out a bulletproof, or I need to check out a bulletproof and a mask. Every item that I take, I have six, maybe 5 chits. It was 5 chits. They're just little circular chips that they give us on a ring that unclips real easy. We take it to that window. If I had to go to like K-Wing, that's like triple life. They're never getting out. Go to the chits. I need a bulletproof. I need a spit mask. I need blah, blah, blah. We get dressed up before we go into where we're going. So these chits were to check out items that I needed when I went into different sections or areas, or if I felt uncomfortable for whatever reason, to protect myself, which was just gear, bulletproof vest, mask, that sort of thing. So they showed us that. They walked us down where like the offices are at, the library, the wood shop, the metal shop. Like, this is where all the inmates have access to. They walked us out to the dairy farm where it's completely ran by inmates, but we'll talk about the prostitution scandal next in the dairy. So the dairy farm, they had all their own milk. They created that. Like I said, they did license plates. And then, it's just day one is I'm shadowing somebody that works there, and she's showing me like, these are your stickers. It tells you where to go draw the blood, where to get the specimens, da 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 da. So we go on this walkthrough and we get to East and West Wing. East Wing is, I believe, East Wing is Southerners and West Wing is Northerners. So they don't put the gang members together. They separate them at DVI when it was open. And they all have one shower room that they share though. And then like there's the cafeteria. They don't eat at the same time. They have to go at different times and they do alternate. But you guys, well, they have these guys caged up for showers. They're like, just screaming at each other, cursing, like, pinche baboso maricón, when I get you, I'm going to fuck you up and I'm going to stab you so many times, they're not going to be able to fix you. And I'm sitting there like, fuck. Why me? Why me? Why do I got to deal with this? And, hey, vampira, what do you pick? North or south? I'm like, damn, fool. Don't bring me in the middle of this shit. And I would say that. I'd be like, don't bring me in the middle of this shit. I got to fucking work, fool. I got to take care of people. So I wouldn't feed into it, I guess. And because I'm from the hood and I'm from the streets and I'm from the guts, and I was selling crack when I was 10. So there's not really much that scares me too much if you could be out in the streets at 2, 3 in the morning at 10 years old selling bags. You know what I'm saying? So that was just my life. So when I saw it, I was like, y'all just some fucking dumbass thugs. Like, so for me, I didn't, so gosh, how can you say this? The COIs and everybody else's eyes saw gangbangers, 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 gangbangers. When you're medical mainline, those are patients. Those are people. I took an oath to do no harm when I'm working with, I might do some harm by sticking them with a needle, but I'm not doing harm because I'm doing it to draw blood, to check what their levels are, if they're on medications, if their heart is not good, if they're, whatever, if they've cancer. Like, there's really sick people in there. You guys, like, they're sick. And it's unfortunate that they have to spend those sick days, like going to the infirmary there because it takes a long time to get approved to go see a doctor, right? And so it's not that I feel like sorry for the criminal. I feel sorry for the human, right? So that was my outlook on it. And for the 3 years that I was there, they tried to change my mentality. And I said, you're asking me to go against medically what I took an oath and what you guys took an oath for medically is to take care of these patients. I don't care what they did in their crime. I don't know what they did right now. The doctor said this person can have a heart attack. So I'm doing a CBC, a CKMP, a troponin. I'm doing all the blood levels that I need to do on this patient to make sure that we get the meds or either put them in infirmary so they can go to the hospital if they're going to have a heart attack. So for me, I battled more against my coworkers than I did the inmates. I was medical mainline. I was there at 3:45 in the morning. I was not the bitch that they wanted to fucking see. Gee Wing, Vampira's in the house. Get your fucking arm ready. Like I would talk to them like if we were on the streets. Like I'm here to do my job. I need to do it professionally. I need to do it well. I want to be off at 1:30. I don't want to spend my time here. So because my outlook on it was I'm hustling. I got to get off at 1:30 because I got to be at the other hospital at 2:30. Pick my kids up at 2, take them to the sitter and go to so my mindset was not where other people were actually intaking that you live and work. No, bitch, I don't live here. I work here. You would never classify me as a person that would lay down with a CO or an inmate or anything like that. That's just not going to happen. I already have bills to pay. Unfortunately for those inmates, I wasn't a female that was interested in that. It wasn't, my mentality was different. So you absolutely have to go into these places and take on that medical mentality that you said you have and go in there and fucking work and don't care what Sarah and John are doing. And I don't care if you and your wife are having marital problems. There's counselors for that shit. And because I spoke like that to people, I gained a really quick respect from the inmates.
Now, how institutionalized are the people that work there? Because I used to tell people all the time, the people that work there are just as institutionalized as the inmates because they bought into that whole psychological perspective. And one of the things I said that helped me was I'd never bought into that convict mentality, like I'm in prison. A lot of guys buy into that, and it's like they lose themselves. So you become a part of that culture, which prison is a culture. And that's why when guys get out, you can tell guys who did a lot of time because they're kind of stuck. Or you could tell a guy who's worked in like the prisons, law enforcement, because they have a certain viewpoint. But speak on that a little bit because you just said something when you said like you don't live here and you recognize that you were just coming there and leaving. And I used to tell people, I'm only passing through. You're not, you're doing time. I said, dude, you're doing time. I'm passing through.
Right. So there were other inmates like you that absolutely refused to, because first of all, let's get it where they're calling it a correctional institute. There's nothing correct about it. There was cockroaches this big in the fucking prison. And I'm not lying to you. Like they used to, yes. And so, well, why do I know? Because I fucking saw them. And I'm looking at people in the guards like, what? I didn't come, if their eggs get on the bottom of my shoes, y'all got me wanting to wear slippers up in here, like covers. Like, why are they having to live with these bugs? So, no, you're not the only person there was people that did think like that. You know what I'm saying? And one of them was my homeboy. And he did happen to get a message to me because when we saw each other on the quick bypass, I thought he was somewhere else. I had no idea. I knew he had gotten in trouble, but I didn't know he was there. You know, when you know somebody, it's that instant like, what the fuck? The CO looked at me, he's like, do you know him? I was like, nah. I just got a giggly feeling about him. Ooh, just I don't know. Don't you guys get that? Well, we were on our way up to look at that Bible of instruments that the inmates make while they're there. So no, because he got a message to me, and those were his very words. Act like you don't know who the fuck he is, because he said he's just passing through. And my brother has never been back in there again. He's got a great job, great life. We all have ups and downs, but it's never been back in the prison again. So, I understand what you're saying when you say that. Like, there's people in there that are like, nah, I'm going to do my time and I'm out this bitch and I'm not coming back. And they've never gone back again. But now when you say institutionalized in the mind, you have COs like, oh yeah, we'll see you in 2 weeks, guy. Like when they're leaving. And it's like, why would you fucking say what's correctional about that? You're already sending them out there on a plank where sharks are just sitting right there. Like you're mentally fucking them when you do that. And I was like, nah, fool, don't come back, clock in and work every fucking day. And he's like, all right, Vampira, I'll check you out in the streets. I was like, for sure. So I think the workers need to get mental backgrounds as much as I think everybody should be mentally background checked with not with one of their psychologists. Because believe me, I've dated a guy that worked as a psychologist in the prison too.
Now, as far as how many people that you work with do you feel actually wanted to see guys get out and do better? I mean, like
one,
for a lot of people, it's job security. One? Wow.
One. And he was not the hardest, but he wasn't the hardest CO, but he was by the books, right? Like, come on, you guys. Don't make my fucking job harder. Like, he would talk to them like that. Like, you're never going to get out of here acting like that. You know what I'm saying? And so they would just be like, all right, fool, yeah, whatever. So because he was like that, they moved him to, it's where basically the people in wheelchairs are at. So everybody's the same ground. They're all in wheelchairs there. It's just a wing specifically like for handicapped inmates. And so that's where he ended up at. And I happened to work with him a lot because I drew a lot of those handicapped people are diabetic, heart problems, whatever. He was the only one that I truly felt like people said it. Excuse me. People said it, but those were the COs that were also bringing tattoo guns in, letting the inmates tattoo them, and then turning the fucking inmates in for having a tattoo gun. But they had freedom while they were doing that tattoo, right? So for an inmate that's 24 or 22, 22 hours in and 2 hours out, that fucking extra freedom was worth it to them. And it was everybody's own shit. You know what I'm saying? So it was really, they segregated everything. Everything was so segregated, even by color. You know what I mean? Because there was the gorilla wing. Like, I used to go into the gorilla wing, wake the fuck up, and pounding on my chest. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just wasn't scared to interact with them because, like, I have uncles like that. I grew up going with my mom to take my dad out of jail every fucking weekend. My dad was a Marine. He was fucking jarhead. He didn't give a shit, For me, it wasn't nothing but like me being around a bunch of my cousins, so I didn't take them serious like that because I wanted more for them. And I would tell them that, like, this can't be what you guys want. And see, they didn't like me talking to them like that. And I'm like, you can't tell me what the fuck to say while I'm drawing their blood. Trying to distract him, taking my tubes, how I want to. Do you have a gate to guard over there? Go guard it. See, so I didn't feel, I wasn't comfortable. Don't get it twisted. I'm from the streets. There was never a comfort there, but there was an understanding that when you get one of the head people on K-Wing, that's Triple Life. That's their net. They got the bars. They got a cage. They got cross cages.
Damn.
3, and then I still had to wear a bulletproof vest, face full hat, everything. And he was like, I just wanted to talk to you. So I told him I needed something, some chapstick or something like that. I was like, what do you want? He was like, just to let you know, if there's a riot, you're good. We'll get you out. Tell him I need chapstick. I was like, all right. Backed up, went over there. I said, he needs chapstick. Didn't say anything else to any of the other COs. I would have got walked out. Would have lost my job. For the dual vocational institute for a top guy like that, and I don't even know a top guy where. He's just a Mexican guy. I don't know who. I don't even remember his name. None of that. To tell me that, and he's the one that nicknamed me Vampira.
So people are living like what is a person in a situation like that? That's like I know Pelican Bay is pretty wild. You bring you can't leave, they bring the showers around. But what is a person, what have they done, or what type of person is in a cage that has a cage that has a cage, and then they're trying to still be human? I mean, what is that? Are you pretty much at that point an animal? What type of situation is that?
He probably, okay, so my best analysis of the situation, because that's all that was said to me. They just told me he's just requesting you for medical. And so I'm like, all right. It's like I don't got my own shit to do. Anyway, so I dressed up, went. And so for me, one, it may have been for the interaction, right? But too many people started calling me vampira. So basically they're telling me you're the best person in here, the blood taker. You're the best blood taker. These other bitches don't know what they're doing. Look at my arm. And they would be fucked up. And I'm like, oh my God, are they sending students in here? Like, what's happening here? Are they sending the dumbest of the dumb here to help me with work? Because I was having to double work, right? So I started complaining a little bit. But anyways, that's besides the point. So it was one, I think, to tell me that, to get me that message. Two, to get chapstick, I suppose, because that's what he told me to go tell them, that he needed chapstick, and maybe coming from a woman, it would sound better. I don't fucking know. And maybe making me understand his medical situation. He had West Nile virus. Excuse me. And so West Nile virus, you become very chapped. The medication, your everything peels off.
Mm.
So he's sitting there like that. And I'm like, you guys aren't giving him any fucking lotion, Vaseline, like anything. You can't have that. I was like, well, he needs something because his lips are bleeding. So I have to report that if nothing happens. See, and so that was another thing. Oh, okay, this bitch is on their side. Now what do you mean you have to, I have to write a report. You guys write reports, right? That's not okay. That's medical abuse. That's just, you guys can get sued if he's smart enough.
My question was, besides that, I mean, for one, how humane is that condition for somebody? Is it just because they feel they're not getting out to cage somebody like that? Because I mean, were there other people also like that? I mean, when you
There
see?
was, but that was the good behavior wing for
Wow,
the lifers. Now
wow.
I happened.
Oh, you
What happened? Oh, there you go. You're up there. I have to learn how to use this iPad. This is a new one. So, I'm sorry. Anyways, so those guys were on good behavior. That was a wing that was like at the very top. It did have windows, but these guys were all lifers and they were just walking around. No cell, no nothing, beds. And I'm like, well, why couldn't he come and stay here? So what I'm assuming is he's getting out kites. Whoever that guy was, he's big, he's high in the gang world. Not sure what gang, don't know. He had no colors on. There's no colors in there, you guys. They'll say it. Those words were not exchanged with me where he was from. But when you are a person that can put out hits on people, that can put out hits on COs, put out hits on people that work there, wardens, other inmates, steal from medical mainline, because they also let you know when you go in there, you know, we don't barter with inmates. If they have you hostage, we're not giving them what they want. You're just in there.
Mm.
And you want me to treat these motherfuckers like shit? Fuck you. Not today, Satan. Not today. Fuego's treating them like patients. And that's what we're going to stick with. So he had to be very high up because there was 10 of them and they were filled. But it was no way to get those cages were like steel, but the grids were almost like a strainer, right? Like the bars. And I'm looking at him like, why y'all got me dressed up? They're like, because somehow he got a spit bullet through one of these one time. So that was a guy that something, I don't know, like through I don't know how they do it, right? I've seen shit. And like I said, and this is probably why, because he was probably in like a low maximum life. And that's not so many layers. It's just like the bars and then like a cage. And so because he did that to a CO, like, okay, motherfucker, it's black in there. There's no windows.
Wow.
We're literally in the center of the fucking prison, y'all, in K-Wing. We're in the center of the fucking prison.
Wow.
These guys don't get no outside time. They don't get to go out. They're 24.
Damn.
That's it.
Wow.
I had
your life.
And I don't understand just my thing out there. Like, you guys, gangs in the street, the only way to stop it is just to stop getting recruited. Just don't do it no more. They'll all get old, right? And so realistically, that's kind of what I see in my old neighborhood. Like, these motherfuckers is old as. So when I see them in the streets, I'm like, fool, you old as hell. And you know you're not supposed to be gangbanging no more. What you gonna do? Your diapers hanging out? You couldn't beat my fat ass in a race if you tried. So it's the reality of, unless you got some really good family that's sticking by you, none of these gangs are sticking by you. They're making you do more shit inside. So if you have time that you're going to be released, do your time and get the fuck out of there. Don't do more shit to go sit up in a fucking cement block. That's what it is. It's a 10. These cages had to be 10 feet wide, 10 feet, 10 by 10, 10 by 10. Maybe 8 by 8. It might have been smaller on those ones. It looked smaller, right? So, I mean, he had to do something bad, because I actually got to draw blood on one of them, and he talked to me.
What did he say?
So, okay, so so all that there is enough for him to get he's one arm is caged up like the handcuff like this. And then the CO detaches, because he's like this.
Yeah.
Detaches it. He has to stick his arm all the way through that little box, right? But still can grab my arm and fuck me up if he wants. So this is all in my mind. Like I said, y'all, I'm not asleep. I'm woke. And I'm sitting there. If you put a suit on, and this was a child, I'm going to say a child because my oldest daughter is 35. Okay. If you put a suit and tie on him, gave him a little swoop over haircut part, faded, and gave him a briefcase and said he was an attorney, his eyes were blue as the sky. I looked at him, I said, what the fuck are you doing here? Give me your arm. I'm just minding my own business, drawing his blood. He was like, oh, do you really want to know? I was like, fucking kind of. And so I'm just getting ready. I popped the tourniquet, I pulled the needle out and put the Band-Aid on him. And he's all, I raped and murdered 7 women and then did this. Look, her did this. His arm is like this, right? And I'm like this on his arm. And he said, underneath.
Ooh, wow.
Yes. And I go, damn, you know what I got in trouble for? And he goes, no, what? I said, I went to the county jail and beat the shit out of my ex-husband. And he looked at me and he goes, I was like, yeah.
I can't hear you. Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, this went out. His demeanor completely changed after that. Once he was like, oh,
Raped and murdered 7 women?
And said it like it was, he said it like this, hurt.
See, that's why they have to have prisons, I believe, and you got to have some type of justice, because that type of shit right there, man, I mean, that's a
He's never going to change.
No, that's a sociopath. If he had the opportunity to get out, he would go right back to that.
Right back to
He's a demonic person.
Yes.
He's not capable of living in a regular society. He cannot live in a community. That is, and I tell people, I've had talks with people in prison, and when I get through talking, I'm like, that dude is crazy. You keep it cordial, but you know that dude's a straight, he's a murderer. You know what I mean? This person, if you seen him on the street, you'd be like, you get a chill and be like, man, I gotta be on my highest alert, you know?
Of course. Why wouldn't you? So
7.
those were the lifers, you know, like I dealt with every single wing.
And see, the thing you just said too, you wouldn't even know the guy looked like he could be an attorney at a law firm, and he's a straight sociopath.
Yes. He looked like he was from Harvard.
Wow.
And even in prison, like face wise, he looked very clean cut, teeth white,
Wow.
like I don't know what. And I was just like, he couldn't have been more than 28. He
Wow.
couldn't have been more than 28.
God, man.
Couldn't have been, but it brings me back to like, look at Jeffrey Dahmer. He started when he was in high school.
Yeah. And only one person survived Jeffrey Dahmer. Remember, he got away.
Yes, he got away.
And he's in prison now.
No.
That guy went crazy. The guy that got away from Jeffrey Dahmer, he was so traumatized. He later on like became, I think, a drug addict and something, and he killed a person and he went to jail. Like he pushed. I forgot something crazy happened, but yeah, the guy, he was never the same. He was never the same after that.
We probably didn't want to be touched certain ways anymore.
He was just psychologically. He was just. I mean, to have escaped that, but man,
gosh,
there's some crazy people in prison, man. Some of these stories, it's like.
Shall we talk about X-ray?
Yeah, let's get into that. What is X-ray?
Well, when the inmates come in because something's up their butt and it hurts.
Ooh. So yeah, let's get into that. So what stories do you have about the X-ray?
So I got to work X-ray one time. They were short staffed and I was done with my work. I was like, yeah, I'll help you. I've worked X-ray before in the hospitals. I go in there and he was like, Sophie. I'm like, what? He was like, you won't believe what he has up his ass. I was like, what? He was like, come and look at the X-ray.
What is this? Somebody coming from visiting?
Inmate.
So he went to X-ray because he's after visiting because he puts, they think he has something in his ass.
No,
or just randomly.
No, randomly.
What?
There is a line of 15 to 25 people every day in X-ray, either because the guards think something won, there's that line, they're sitting in cages, or broken bone or something. But I'll say 6 times out of 10, they've shoved something up their ass and they can't get it out.
So
this guy had an apple up his ass. I'm glad I got a little bit high before this. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to tell that one, but yes, he had an apple stuck up his ass.
What did he put an apple in his ass for?
I don't know. Didn't ask.
Apple?
I mean, I don't know, brother. They don't have a lot of there's not a lot of shit to do in there. And like, I don't know what would make a person want to do that. And again, we're going to take it back to mental health. And so for me, every year in June, we'll have to collab on something because this is a great show. I celebrate men's mental health because I think if we paid more attention to men's mental health, a lot of this stuff might not be happening. People might not accidentally get, because obviously the guy from Jeffrey Dahmer, he had mental problems after that. He needed help. He needed help. So, and he obviously wasn't given that I don't know what it is, but
I think there's a level of help, and then there's a level of some people, you just have to catch them before they need to be captive. Like Richard Ramirez, you know what I mean? Yeah, you can't, there's no helping. A person like that is so many, he's almost like the guy from that movie with the mask. What do you call that movie with the guy where
Hannibal Lecter.
Hannibal Lecter. If a person like that, they're so manipulative that they will pretend the help is working so they can get out and do it again. And those are scary people. Those people are they can play the game to a T, and man, they are diabolical, just very sick people.
Super diabolical. Super diabolical.
Now, in your time working there, were there inmates where you seen that were just like at that level where this guy right here is scary?
I'm going to tell you about that one next, since we're talking about scary shit. I have two episodes that's happened to me in that place that was pretty scary. I feared for in there for me with one of them, the other one for me and my family, my kids outside. That's why I did what I did with him. But The first one was just in a cell again. And these guys are, so when you start to get very hardened, right? They start to, they still get to get out. They still do, they're probably like 23-1, where they have an hour outside and 23 hours in. But again, there was windows, but it didn't lead to anything. You just saw another fucking brick building, right? Nothing nice to see, no trees, nothing. This one guy, like, I almost used to feel bad going and drawing blood in that wing, because the CO was like, it's just because he likes you. I go, telling me that he wants to squeeze the fucking life out of me, that I'm a fucking whore and a fucking bitch. He was like, yeah, like the ugly girl that comes and draws blood, he doesn't say shit to her. I just looked at him and I was like, I went up to his window. I was like, that's not the way you make a fucking girl like you. I don't know how long you've been in here, but you're fucking absolutely wrong for doing it. And I don't appreciate it. And I don't like what you're doing. And if you keep doing it, I'm going to write a report, a 133. And he just looked at me. So when he knew I was going up there, he would put a curtain in his window. He scared me. He was like a Jeffrey Dahmer. He was like when you have to completely cover your window and go, well, like in Spanish we say con ansia, like with, he was just anxious and mad and just like could not take seeing, or maybe I look like somebody that he didn't like. I don't know. I never got intimate or close with the inmates like that. But when they would piss me off and get disrespectful, I would let them know. I don't wear tight clothes. I don't disrespect you. I don't wear makeup. I don't do anything to make myself look different than exactly like this. Hair up in a bun, all tirada. I wouldn't even comb my hair sometimes. I would go in there looking tore the fuck up. Because you're at a job that you don't care if you look good. I'm not at Bank of America. Thank you for coming to Bank of. No, I'm going into fucking K Wing, where they want to tell me that my new nickname is Vampira and that I'm okay if there's a riot. Like that's not like you got, like I've seen people work for 30 minutes and walk the fuck out. 10 girls did it, not few. 10 girls did it. I
Wow.
was like, damn it, where are you going? She's like, I'm not doing this. Sophie, you're different. I was like, nah, you're just getting too close. Just don't get close. Don't feel like that. She was like, I can't do this. I'm out of here. So I'm gonna physically show you guys how they wake up in the morning. Good morning, West Wing. Let's have a good day today. Okay, South Wing. Good morning back. Like, if you are outside in the parking lot, you can physically hear this going on. Physically going on. So it's yelling, it's screaming, banging, something to get to the CO's attention. Like me, I used to I used to walk in there like Bruce Almighty, looking sore tore up with an empty coffee cup. Like they'd be pushing the coffee cup cart, and I'd be like, everybody to the right, over the yellow line. And the CO would look at me, and I would fill my coffee mug up. I was like, this is the only fucking coffee that can get me through this fucking job every fucking day with you guys. And I'd put my top on and I would just walk by. I'm like, I don't know if they're like, this bitch is just angry. Like, they just look like she's ready to snap. But it's the fact of me being a single mom. My husband passed away. So now I got to be hard. I got to be a dad. I got to be a mom. I got to raise these 5 kids and tell them, like, look where I'm working. Like, you guys want to be here? Don't do fucked up shit. That's it, you know? So I got great kids. Some of them got attitudes, but they're not in prison, right? So sorry, I got emotional because the reasons why I was working were outside of the prison and school. So I knew I needed to be off at 1:30 because 2 o'clock was pushing the traffic. I wasn't in Tracy. I was in Casson Road. It was just the things that I had to go through that my mind was on throughout my day working there, that I would even tell them, like, you guys got to get the fuck up out of here, bro. Like for real. Like I need the fucking dough, bro. That's why I come back here every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
You know?
You just gave me a flashback when I think about how low you feel in there. And the guys, like, they try to make it seem like nowadays with all the social media, with people with their cell phones and their spreads and their shoes and they're hanging out. They act like prison's so fly. It's like I call it a prison commercial to try to make young people think it's normal and it's not that bad. But I remember in there, I would feel so low. I felt so humiliated that I disappointed my family that I'm in there, and to think like I didn't get any visits the whole time I was in prison, and I wouldn't even try to put that pressure on like my grandmother or my mom to come see, because they got to go to prison to see me. And so I tell people, don't just think about you, think about the people you're going to try to put through that experience.
Right.
You got kids, you got your maybe your auntie, your grandparents, your grandfather, your dad, your mom, and you're thinking they're supposed to come there and see you like this? They raised you and now you're in prison, and then the people in prison, like you said, you got to keep a certain attitude, and I respect it, but like you're in there as a prisoner and you're thinking, man, am I even a human being still? So then you got to think like, when I get out, how's it going to be being in here so long? Will I be able to blend in back
Right.
to society? So that's
Right.
scary, because you don't want people in society to think that, or know that you've been in prison, or, there's all these these different situations going on in your mind. And I used to think about that all the time. So I respect your position going in there. And then, like I said, from the other side, I've been to medical. I actually hurt myself on the yard working out, and I was probably less than a year, maybe a year to the house, or less than a year. And they because I knew how to do paperwork, and I helped a lot of people with legal filings. They were like, they got me out of the prison. This is the fastest I've ever seen anybody leave the prison. I got hurt on the yard right after lunch. They actually, within 30 to 40 minutes, had me on a van with two officers going to the local hospital. I was quick. Like, they took me there. I had an MRI. They put me in an MRI machine with
because you were helping them out.
with the zip ties. And I was in the low, going seeing the streets, for the first time in not almost 8, 9 years. But
Right.
they acted quickly because of the way I carried myself. But yeah, man, I just know that the medical, a lot of times guys are going in there to try to get some interaction with a woman. They're trying to somehow get away from the whole.
Majority of medical mainline is women.
Yes.
Majority.
Yes.
That's where you're going to get your women.
Yes.
Medical mainline,
Yes.
guys. And that's crazy that it's the truth. And I would tell my cook, like, why are you wearing tight ass scrubs, dummy? Like, I used to think that some of the women that I work with liked it. They liked being a tease. They liked, I'm like, these women are probably gonna be like, that bitch. This literally is like ideal size of a shirt that I would wear going scrub going, and when I'm telling you it's tucked in, it would be down low. Like you couldn't even see my pockets. You couldn't see nothing, right? But these girls want to go in there like this.
But wasn't there a lot of
That's crazy.
prison hookups? Because I know some guys who hooked up with teachers when they got out. I know some guys who had hooked up with COs. Inmates, they had game and they had money on the street. A lot of guys, smart guys. These women were, they got a guy who got out, and it's like he's a bad boy. Plus, he knows how to get money.
Right, right. So fuck this job. And I mean, if you work there, and somebody is like, yeah, you ain't gotta worry about shit, and they're really running that game, like they're running it on the person, like it happens. I've seen it. It happens. Like I said, the COs are taking tattoo guns in there. Let's just start where the problem's at. If the correctional is not correcting right, these inmates are gonna think that it's fair and game.
Did you see any females staff members hook up with inmates and get caught or hear about it?
One of the COs, she got fired, but they stayed together.
Okay.
They stayed together. That was one of those love after lockup shows. But yeah, no, she stayed with him. They put it like in our local Tracy Press or whatever. We were just like, whatever. Like, I don't know. I don't think much of it because, like, I have friends that have husbands that are in prison. You know what I'm saying? And they know they have an out date, and he knows he has an out date, and he's doing like you did. He's doing the right things to get out. Even try to get out early. She said he's trying to get out early. So even looking at it from all perspectives, like my background, I have a lot of family that went to jail, but I have family members that are COs, and I'm looking at them and I'm telling them you better have some fucking integrity when you go. And that's what it's about. If you're going to go work in there, go work in there and have integrity. Go work in there and understand that if this is called a correctional facility, that you don't have to be an asshole to these guys. You have to try to keep these guys humane, normalcy, because if not, they have to get out, and the correctional facility is making them institutionalized. That's the problem. And then when they get around normal people or people that are just kind of normal with them, see, that just wasn't my thing, right? I wouldn't even date a CO. Would not date a CO.
Well, when you were talking about COs hooking up, I remember one of the prisons I was at, and there was always almost like a page place. The CO women were hooking up with other guys while they're at work, different shifts, and there was like COs were fighting in the parking lot. You heard stories that weekend parties, and so I don't know if you heard any stories when you were there where there's just like COs just messing around with other COs because they work around each other, and there's always so they start getting into these little secret relationships.
So there's that CO that I said, the one that I knew wanted good for the inmates. Him and this other chick, I guess they had dated before. And they just would never work together again after that, after it was over, right? And so, because he would talk to me, he was not a very talkative person, but neither was I. I didn't really talk to people there. I think he had an assignment, I had an assignment, we were doing our assignment, and that was it. But we also agreed that we worked for a correctional facility, so why are we being inhumane to these inmates? That's teaching them to go out and be inhumane to people that work in the prison industry. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost you become a target. You see a lot of it. Like I said, the CEO and my supervisor in the lab, they hooked up. Shit started hitting the fan. He started wanting her to tell her husband. She was lying, saying she was going to divorce her husband. Shit hit the fan. Somehow his husband found out what was going on. I don't know how, but I lost my job because of that. Because before, I mean, right after I let, because she was just already telling me, I'm walking you out. I'm walking you out all day long. I was like, bitch, walk me out and keep walking because you need to lose weight like me. Let's go take a walk together out of the parking lot, bitch. Like, that's what I wanted to say, but I didn't. And so when my shift was over and I had done all the work that she is incapable and was incapable of doing, because that's what I did, my supervisor's workload. That was her pullover on me. Like, you want to stay here, you're going to do my workload too. So there was bullying going on even within the departments. I just didn't give a fuck. I was like, bitch, walk me out. I'll collect unemployment.
So you kind of broke up for a second there. So what happened? Why she wanted to walk you out?
Because she found out I told her husband she was cheating on her because she was being mean to me.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So before she could get fired, she quit a month after that because everything started hitting the fan after I left. Because I went and talked to the warden. And he was like, you don't have, I was like, no, unfortunately, I feel like this is the end of the road here for me. I'm going to go ahead and take this traveling job that's going to have me travel all over the United States, pay for my food, pay for my room, pay for my flight, pay for my rental cars. And Fuego Sophie was all with it. I said, I want her to enjoy walking me out because I'm going to enjoy watching her get a divorce on social media.
Mm.
So yeah, it's very grimy there. It's like I said, internally, like the workers, it's a fucking soap opera. These inmates are dealing with more anger because of what the fuck these people are going through at work. And it's just offset to the inmates. Offset to them.
Yeah.
So for me, My encounters, other than that one gentleman that just had to like put a towel up, I think I can this one Italian guy from New York that was in there for life. He was in the infirmary and he asked me to work for him on the inside. And I looked at him and I said, I don't know who the fuck you think you have, but that's not her. That's not her. I said, I was raised by a Marine. My dad's a Marine. I've never been. I said, I fought my whole life to be out of gangs. 5 bitches at one time to be out of gangs. I said, I make enough money to support my children and myself. We eat very well. I cook a very good breakfast, lunch, and they eat lunch at school. I'm sorry, I'm lying. And dinner, breakfast and dinners for my kids, unless they want. But yeah, he wanted me to work for him on the inside, and literally, this is what he sounded like. I heard you're the girl to talk to. I was just wondering. You cannot make this fucking bullshit up. If you'd like a job on the inside with me, I said, no, sir. I don't know who the fuck you think you have. But did I need to draw blood on you? Do I have anything to do here with you medically? He was like, no, I just thought I'd talk to you. I said, well, don't worry. This conversation ain't leaving this fucking room because I ain't a snitch either, but I'm also not a fucking mule. So I'm going to go. Okay, bye. And, I bounced. But you got to understand, my husband had died. I'm a hardened female selling crack when I was 10 on the streets, like in shootouts. Like, you cannot think that you're gonna fucking do me the way you do these dingbats in here.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not how it's gonna work, right? So, but I love how he tested the water.
He was a real gangster.
He was from New York. He wasn't from around where we're from. We got country accents. That was not a country accent. That,
Yeah.
to me, that's like Boston, up
Yeah.
in the uppers,
Yeah.
uppers over there in New York. I'm not talking Queens. He might be doing business in Queens, in Brooklyn, but that's not where he stays.
Yeah.
Because he had cheddar. There wasn't nothing wrong with that man. He wasn't sick. He wasn't even on oxygen. He was just up in
He
the air.
got that to do his time better.
You're from the East Coast. You got nothing but Southern California and Northern California gangbangers in there. And anything in the middle, any little druggy crime, petty crimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, not I shouldn't say petty. That's street talk. Sorry, guys. But any crime that will give you 18 and over, 18 months and over, you ended up there. So they had, that was a mainline prison there. So, everybody was in blues. There was no oranges. That was prison. You know what I'm saying?
Didn't even fit that mode of type of character.
Fuck no. He did something. Money laundering, gangster shit.
Yeah.
With the movies, do you watch? What can we say? What's his fucking name? My dog's name is Manolo. His friend. Why can't I think of it?
Scarface?
Scarface. Yes, like that was who he was.
Okay. Okay.
That definitely somebody like that because he had like his setup, flat screen TV, nice dressers, not a hospital bed, but a nice bed.
Wow. Yeah, he was making some moves, and for him to be in the state and not the feds, somebody pulled some strings.
Obviously, there's no other answer for that. I don't care if you're a regular schmegula. If you saw it in a movie and you saw it in real life, you would know exactly what was going on. And I told him I said, like today, I can't even remember his name. I couldn't pick him out in the photo. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck he looks like. You know what I'm saying? When I tell you, you're not just working in the prison. Like, you work and you live in the prison.
Yeah.
That was the realest fucking thing. Besides saying they don't barter for anybody, not you, not no CO, not the warden. We're not giving them what they want. So because they know that, they're more at each other than really trying to get at somebody unless the CO pisses them off or something. It's got to be something like that because they've rioted at DVI. They definitely have rioted at DVI where I've seen them shut that shit down and we got to go home early. Ain't shit going through those gates. Nothing. Shut it down, lock down till whenever the warden feels like his fucking ass is not itching anymore and he wants to let you guys out. That could be months.
Is there any other crazy stories that you could think of that were like, man, is this job really worth it?
The prostitution in the dairy. Once I found out that there was girls being prostituted out of the dairy to the inmates, and
Wait a
I
minute,
saw
wait a
the
minute. Girls, where are these girls from?
streets,
And they were hooking up, so they
guy,
go to the dairy and hook up with the inmates?
yeah, getting paid. That's how they were getting paid. They were they were pimping out the prison to the girls in the streets, and the girls were coming because they were getting breaded up too.
Wow.
That's why the dairy got shut down. It was going on for like 2 fucking weeks. That's before they got caught. I don't know who told, but somebody told.
So who was pimping the girls? Was it a staff member from the prison, like hooking the inmates up with the girls, or
Got to be the inmate. Had to be somebody big and up inside.
so some inmate was
Yeah.
pimping out girls to other inmates, and he was, wow. Did that make
They
the
shut the
news?
dairy down. The dairy shut down after that was it.
Wow.
And they had to send a lot of inmates to different places because I don't know. They just felt like there was too much categorically going. Like that is organized gangster right there. That's organized gangbanging right there. When
Wow.
you have a prostitution ring running through the prison, and there's guards there, so you know the guards are getting paid.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, the women are showing up. Wow.
Well, no, it's out in the country. It's out in the country. Let's see if I can pull it up on the map real quick and show you. Like it's not like that. Like they could come from a whole different direction where that dairy was not fenced off like that. It was cows. They didn't have it. Yeah, they didn't have it fenced off like that. Those were good inmates doing good
Okay,
time.
okay. So, like an open dairy farm, and basically, how many guards are out there with the inmates, and how many inmates are out there?
Fuck that. I couldn't tell you for sure. That I couldn't tell you for sure. To run a dairy, now my cousin and them ran a dairy. So maybe like 20 inmates. They would probably need like 10 guards out there, probably. Maybe they probably didn't have that many guards out there because they were always saying they were short on guards.
Huh.
Yeah. Even now, I only live 5 miles from DVI. And I'll show you guys, not literally, but you'll be able to see it on the map. How close? Well, right here, you can see that says DVI right there. And
Okay.
my house is right there. And then there's Tracy. So at the time I lived in Tracy, I grew up in Tracy. But if I blow it up, I can show you the little they even it's so funny. There's a skydiving school right behind it. But that's how open the field is. Do you understand what I'm saying? So
Yes,
it's
it's a
like
lot of space.
it's a lot of space. You can move around a lot. So if we take it over to just
Now,
DV,
how did the prostitution ring get busted?
somebody told. Somebody eventually told. They told. So if you look at, so this is the whole prison right here, right? There's a little parking lot, all that. This is that little hall that we got to walk across to get, oops, sorry, to get into the prison. So when you say open field, there's a ton of open field, and it's all right here. There's a freeway right there.
Wow. Okay.
You can still see it, because obviously the fences and everything are up still, but you can still see it from the freeway. It's now closed. They moved all those COs to like courthouse, different state prisons. So like just, your county jails. So there wasn't like a ton of COs there, but they were able to get them spread out and get them jobs everywhere else, or the hospital. Because now Stockton, California just opened up the new prison hospital.
Mm.
Motherfuckers started suing people, getting sick, dying in the hospital, and families saying that they got letters and shit saying that they're not giving them their medicine. And this is coming out of the federal prisons. So, you know, a lot's changed here. Like, we don't have the DVI. That was one of the, but we're still close. We still have, my brother-in-law actually works at Pelican Bay.
Mm.
He's a CO there. Was it? He's my ex brother-in-law. But I love him to death anyways. My kid's uncle, I love you. Not gonna say his name. But he's just a tough guy, right? He don't take no shit. That's it. Like, you guys fucking got yourselves in trouble. There's rules. Just fucking follow the rules. Make our fucking job easy. If you follow the rules, time will be easy. We'll get out of here. You guys that get out of here, get out of here. Like, that's his train of thought, but he's also military. So, you know what I mean? he felt like military was a prison in a sense, so he kind of feels like he understands them a little bit. But that's a whole different story, Eric. But
Yeah.
it's just crazy, crazy things going on in the prisons, and I think they need to open their eyes and they need to watch the workers as well. They're doing shitty shit too. I don't, like to me, I'm telling you, it got to the point where I would put my backpack up on the table, just go through. We're not doing that. Like they got lackadaisy on searching my thing. But I made sure that I was on camera every single time, grabbing my clear backpack, putting that bitch up on there. You're not trying to get me and the inmates in trouble here in this bitch. Like, fuck. You know, it was crazy. Like I would even just take my fob to my car. Who's gonna steal my keys out my car? Nobody. Nobody. You're at a federal prison. So I used to just put my keys in my middle console, take my fob. So I had no metal, no keys, no gum, no books, no wallet. I didn't have shit. I didn't, it got to the point where I just took lunch in there.
But you
Fucking
know what's crazy
food.
too is you know, I do a lot of prison articles and different research, and I see like how in like Norway the guys got all these dorms and they're living like they're on the street for murder, but they're civilized and they treat everybody's like humane. And I think like in the United States and in certain prisons here, like guys are so caught up on the gang stuff, you couldn't even do that because they couldn't. That would be too much for them. You know what I mean? Like they don't want
Mhm.
that, and so they would abuse it. And I used to always say, if you got guys who want to do the gang stuff and the serious stuff, and there's no, I mean, more power to you. They're the prison for that. But if they're if you want to be productive, really have rehabilitate, get job
Right.
skills, do stuff. Let's have a
Right.
facility for those people who don't want to feel pressured about the gang, the politics, the racism. If you want to help these people get back to society and maybe make changes in their communities, give them an
Right.
environment that's conducive for them to do that so that they don't have
Right.
to worry about that. Because even in me going through prison, I mean, there was so much politics, man. I mean, I'm black. I couldn't sit with the blacks over here because I'm not from Compton or I'm not from the Bay Area or I'm not from this. I'm sitting over here with the Mexicans from up north. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm kicking it
Right.
with them. They're like, hey, you can sit at our table. So I'm dealing with these guys, but then I'm looking at these guys and talking about, oh, the brothers. Ain't no brothers. You guys wouldn't even let me sit over here because I don't
Right.
want, you know what I mean? So it's pretty sad in like the state of like when people think, oh, man, I'm coming to get doing this and doing that. I think a lot of people don't really realize, like you said, the mental health aspect of it. And then these same guys get out and want people to help them, but don't understand if you've been living that kind of life and you're judging somebody from a different neighborhood, but they look like you, how's there any unity there?
There's not. We have to stop it. We
You
have to
know,
stop it.
it makes
We
no
have to
sense.
stop it.
And I caught a lot of shit because my cellmate was Mexican, but I'm originally from Sacramento, so he's from Sac. We were kicking it, and up north, it's different.
You already know Northern California, we don't roll like that though.
That's how we roll. But the brothers from down south used to look at me crazy, like, what is this
Oh
black guy
yeah.
doing with a Mexican? And then the Mexicans from down south were cool, like, Big Hurt, you're different than these guys over here. So I was like in the middle of that whole thing, but it was this weird dynamic, and they said, be like, you sure you want to have a Mexican cellmate? You sure you want to, blah, blah, blah. And it was just different, man, you know?
Right.
I don't know.
It
I think
definitely is a different way of life. Stay out of jail if you can.
stay out. I tell them stay
I
out.
can't say I'm innocent, I don't sit here an innocent person. So that's why I'm telling people like that's you don't want to get ran through the system and all that shit. Now I can't get a state job. I can't work for the state of California because I went to the county jail, off of some stupid ass shit. You know what I mean? Thinking now I'm 50 now, like, bitch, what were you doing? Losing your mind. But that's a whole different story. But absolutely losing my mind, literally. And this is what gets back to the mental health aspect of it. And I just, as a woman, me having to be a mother of 3 boys, all different, and 2 girls, uh, having to play a man role, there's a lot of fucking pressure on women, put so much pressure on men. It's crazy. And I get ridiculed for saying this a lot. Oh, look at you, you're Mexican, you're not acting right. You should want, girl, I should want to have a lot of things. So that takes me and my husband to work together. Like, so the mental health that we put on men alone, men are already set up for failure as little boys. You can't hit girls. You have to do this. But give your shirt to her, put it on the ground. Like, there's so many things that they're taught as little boys. Like, why? Why didn't she bring an umbrella? Like,
You know though,
that type of thing. Not to hit a girl, but like, like there's a lot of pressure. Like, I've never been told as a girl, you have to do this, you have to do that.
but I think a
I mean,
lot of that
cook.
comes from if you don't have like a good father figure, and most dads, most fathers only have one generation of practice. Like my grandfather didn't have a dad, so he had one.
Okay.
He tried to father, but then how much of a father was he when he was raised by his grandmother? But I mean, if you have like at least two generations of fathers, and I'm not saying they're perfect, but like maybe your grandfather was in World War II, then your dad was in Vietnam, and then now you got two generations of what it means to have a father, so he can teach these things to young men, so you don't
I
have that
have that.
dysfunctionality.
Dang.
Because when you don't have that, I had my mom trying to raise me, but like there's a point where a young man needs a man. He's going to find it on the
Yeah.
streets. He's going to find it on a football field, maybe a coach, maybe through
Right.
karate, maybe through Boy Scouts. But you need a man to teach a man things, not to be
Right.
emotional, not to get all in your feelings, to let it out sometimes. And it's all right to
Right.
win. That's the whole reason. Like when you play sports and you don't get a trophy, you feel bad, but you're going to feel bad in life. Life is not all wins. You know,
Right.
some days,
Right.
some days you go through it. I mean, like you're like, man, money's not coming in today. I'm going through this. But you don't go shoot up the place. You just realize it's a bad day.
Right. That's it.
You know,
Emotionally stable.
emotionally
Like to
stable,
be
and
able
that's
to,
when you go through and you get your ass beat in karate, or you get knocked out in football, or something happens to you. You get up and you keep going, but that's what men need growing up, and they're not getting that, and then it leads to all the other stuff. So you go to gangs to find the family unity, and the gang stuff is all based on the violence. But then you get to prison, and you realize these dudes now you got to count on them because you might be homeboys with the dude you were fighting with on the street.
right. Right. That for me, that's just like, you guys, come on. It's just, I don't know, I'm a mother too. So, I see it through so many different sets of eyes, and so, yeah, that was my crazy experience working at DVI. It's a soap opera, working in prisons. It takes a certain kind of person to work in a prison. You got to be there for the right reasons. You love your craft if you're a medical staff. You got to love your craft. You got to want to be good at it. You got to want to be, a person. So I got noted for that. It was crazy that it was by inmates. And I've never been praised for the good work that I do outside in the hospital. Saved plenty of lives, plenty of nurses' asses starting their IVs for them. Plenty of gases that I've done for respiratory therapists that they couldn't. But what I'm saying is, they, God damn it, dang it. I mean, it was almost uplifting working there for me in some aspects because they were like, dang, like, finally somebody got my blood. They're going to find out what's wrong with me. Because if I wasn't there and there was somebody there and they couldn't get the blood, it was just fuck it. We'll try a different day. But they could be dying of a heart attack. We
Yeah.
need to see their CKMB, their troponin. Like, there's no fuck it. And that was the attitude that I went in there with. Like, there's no fuck it. I've worked in ERs. I've worked in trauma, like big trauma centers in Concord, Mount Diablo Medical Center. I've worked there. I've worked as a lab assistant at UC Davis. Like, I'm a super smart individual. You know what I'm saying? So I tell people like you can't judge a book by its cover. And I feel like I'm one of the biggest examples of that because when people see me, this is what they see. They see the tattoos. They see this and that, or whatever they want to make of whatever they see about my tattoos. It's that judgment that we live with every day that it's so hard for these young men that are, one, not being corrected correctly in these correctional facilities. They're not being taught correctly. Why wouldn't you put them on a library schedule? Why wouldn't you put them on a job work program? Why wouldn't you teach them how to use Word Perfect and Soft? Don't give them internet access. Give them programs to study. Teach them how we used to get taught so that it's that hand to eye, turning pages, reading, writing, that sort of thing. And of course, everybody needs to turn in that fucking pencil before they leave my office. But what I'm saying is give them a schedule 23-1, 22-2. Like only an inmate's gonna understand that. Like if I talk to somebody, they're gonna be like, "What's that?" You know, well, that's you being 22 hours in a cell and only being able to go out for 2. So you better hurry up and get all that sunlight that you want. That there's only this little. Sorry,
I can hear.
shit. Sorry about that. This girl keeps calling me. I thought I had it off, but I do. I don't understand that. Cell phones, I don't understand them either. Can we just go back to regular call me at my house and I can answer caller ID?
What advice would you give to anybody looking to go work in the prison system? Would you advise it or tell them to look for other options? I mean, what would be your feedback from that?
Oh gosh, you can't change. I know they have the 60 days in and they're doing that in county jails, but unless they change the structure of the correctional facility, the way inmates are corrected in this facility, the way they are, it's an upbringing, it's a lifestyle. So unless the correctional facility is willing to allow the outside interaction to keep these guys mentally and emotionally stable versus us looking at them up and down like you piece of shit, dirtbag, fucking criminal, prisoner, inmate, you're just a fucking criminal. Like these are the attitudes that they have. I've heard it. I've heard it. And they'd be like, don't let them draw you in. It's like, bitch, nobody's drawing me in. Shut up. This is a patient. So I would correct them all the time. Make sure that you want are strong here. Like your mana. In Hawaii, we say your mana, your spirit, your soul. Make sure that your job is what you love to do. Because I love to do my job. I love helping a doctor write a story about a patient. Because without us drawing their blood, running the chemistry test and doing the test that we do and going under the microscope and doing the pathology that we do, right? We won't know what your medical book says. So we're writing that book for you. So that's a very important job to me because I'm capable now of helping people not die. Because it's like, oh, we got to them in time. We got to them in time enough to save their life. It's only stage 2 cancer. It's not stage 4 cancer. So when somebody says it's stage 2, I'm like, that's better than stage 4, fool. He's like, yeah, but they've been trying to get my blood for like 3 months and it could have gotten worse if it was an aggressive cancer, right? Make sure that you love your craft, that when you go in there and you work medical mainline, that you're a scientist in nursing, that you're a scientist in laboratory, that you're a scientist in x-ray, that you are a medical doctor, that you have your BA, your master's in doctorate. Make sure that the medical field is what you want to do because you don't get to go treat them differently just because they're inmates. That's not humane. That's not what we sign when we go to take medical. I don't care what fucking medical school you take. You sign something that says, I will do no harm and do no harm. That means, like what I said, like my job is to stick needles in people only, or to take sputum from you. And if I have to scrape your throat, stick a swab up your nose, if I stick something in your ear, in your dick, in your vagina, I'm just saying we're adults here. Then I need to take my craft seriously. And don't go there and do that unless you're willing to help those patients the way you would in a hospital. Because it's a fucking amazing learning place. You can learn a lot. There's a lot to see, a lot of sickness and illness that you might not see. There are patients, and they're a lot more patient because they're inmate and they're like, oh, it's all right, fool. Go ahead, try it again. Because they want that time out of that cell. And so they give us that, right? So it's a great learning hospital. I would consider we're a hospital. We have a hospital there. So it's a great clinic. It's a great learning clinic. So if you're new and you want a job and you absolutely love what you do, then go do it. Otherwise, don't do it, because you'll run into what I ran into. My integrity up against their lack of integrity as workers. And my problem was absolutely the COs and the medical mainline supervisor that I had. So it had nothing to do with the inmates at all. Was it loud? Was it rowdy? Yeah, but I went home to 5 kids by myself. It was loud. It was rowdy. Football, basketball, baseball, gymnastics. Like, they did it all. My kids were athletes. So you have to make sure that when I went home and we were at practices, that I go, fuck, man, that fucking shit makes it worth it. Going to that third job, the prison, I'm tired, but it's short. It's worth it. If I do my shit quick and early, I can get out early, right? So it was my razón, my reason. My mana was cool there. I knew I was there for my kids. And sometimes people are from a broken marriage, from a broken family, from something, and they're workers there, and they bring that to work, and it shows, and that's how they get intertwined with other COs, inmates, fighting in the fucking parking lots, just that stuff, easily getting drawn into basically just the bullshit. Same bullshit in the prison, you're just in prison. If you got drama in the streets, it's the same shit. Just be focused. I'm not saying it's a bad job. The retirement package would have been amazing. The 401k would have been amazing for me and my kids. And I can always go work at another prison. Do I think it's going to be the same? Yes, because the structure of the correctional facility needs to be revisited. And there needs to be a lot more mental health. I think there needs to be a psychiatrist's office in the prison. I think they need to facilitate that, because that's one of the biggest medical problems that they have in there is mental health. They're being locked up. That needs to change. I understand that it's hard and it's more work, but you're there to work. You're there to guard. You're there to medical mainline. Do you see what I'm saying? So you're getting paid for what you're doing. So I don't understand the system. I didn't care for it very much. And I think that was my biggest deficit there, is when they walked me out, I walked out with fucking bells on. Bells. I was like, and one of my chits went missing off my cart. Figure it the fuck out, bitch. And I knew what I had done. I handed in 4 and I threw one on the side of her desk. I knew what I had done. I just wanted her life to be hard, because it's already hard being in prison. It's already hard. It's very hard to work on your self-esteem in prison. And as an inmate, when you have other adults, not adult enough to separate their own personal feelings from their emotional status to their job, they shouldn't be there. If you feel some kind of way about inmates and, oh, I want to go there and keep them in check, don't go fucking work there. That's CO's job.
Yeah.
Don't go work there. If you're in the office, you're not that bitch. That's why you're behind locked doors. Shut the fuck up. Don't talk to me like that. They didn't like that I was like, you're an adult. I'm going to talk to you like an adult. And that's that. And I'm not an inmate. So fuck that. I'm good. I can go get another job.
Yeah.
So like I said, when I got walked out, it was purely because of that. Because I told her, well, guess what? I come from a very apostolic background, and my grandmother said cheating is wrong. So what you're doing is wrong. You have no integrity. And your husband doesn't even know you're cheating with a CO here. Shame on you. And you do it in our workplace. Shame on you twice. So, and I told her, I was like, you're walking me out. I have no strings to you now. Now I can call your husband and tell him what you did. So that's how that went down. She walked me out, and I let her know I was going to call her husband. She didn't, she got warned. It was just that his number was right there on my phone right when I walked out the door. So, that was conniving, and I shouldn't have done that. I lowered my standards, right? But I did get hired at Health Fitness 2 days later. And I traveled the United States working for them, helping people get in shape, and workers being tested and getting their heart tested. We've stopped heart attacks from happening at that job as well. Teaching people how to take care of themselves financially, emotionally, mentally, and work-wise, and telling people, you get a vacation, take it. Whether you take it or not, that money's still there.
Yeah.
Still get paid for it. So, that was that. That was my run-ins with the prisons. It was crazy. Chicago prison, crazy. Statesville, I've been inside that prison, y'all.
So how can people find you on social media?
Oh gosh, let's see. Fuego Girl T Vision. I spell girl G-U. You see the U, G-U-R-L. And you might type that in on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I'm on Bigo. I'm on Fuego Girl T Vision on YouTube. All platforms. Just type in Fuego Girl T Vision or TV and you'll find me. That's the logo of Flaming TV. Thank you for having me. I know my show starts in about 20 minutes.
Okay, and I'll get all your links. We'll have that in the description, and that way they can see it all and click on it. And I appreciate you for coming on the channel, sharing
Gosh,
your
such a
experience.
fun time. So fun and nice meeting my brother in Culture Flicks.
Thank you, thank
This is
you. I
great.
appreciate you. Hey, everybody, there you have it, Sophia with Fuego Girl. You know how we do it over here. Fresh out. Subscribe, share the channel. Thank you.
Let's go. Bye, Eric.